Hey, what's up guys? Hey, it's Vile here again, and I'm here to make another PvP guide. I was asked in the comments of one of my other videos that someone wanted a 61 Nightblade guide, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a rundown on how to play it. It's easy build to play. It's not that complicated. There is a lot to it, but once you get down to it, it's really easy. Alright, so I'm going to start off by giving you the build that I run. I run 61 Nightblade, obvious, 4 Tactician, and 11 Marksman. Now the reason I put 11 in Marksman is because there's several reasons here. You get Swift Shot, which is a great builder to have when you have your maximum stacks of Fiery Spikes, or as a good range attack when your Fiery Spike won't reach, and I'll go into that later. You get On the Double, speed increase, that's always great. You get Hasted Shot, which is another finisher that's longer than Flame Thrust, right over here. So if you're not close enough, you'll still be able to hit them with this if you can't with Flame Thrust, as well as give you a 20% increase in your speed. Now, one of the main reasons I chose 11 Marksman is because I wanted to get Hasty Departure. So whenever you are attacked by an enemy, your movement speed is increased by 3% for 10 seconds, and it can be applied up to 5 times. So you get a 15% movement speed increase. And that's basically up all the time when you're in combat, so it helps you to stay on your target. So as a Nightblade, it can be hard to stay on your target, so it just helps you always move around and be close to people, so that's really great. And then I put 4 out of 5 in Ionization for Tactician, because you get the 8% non-physical damage, and a lot of your attacks as a Nightblade are non-physical, so it's great. As well as give you Curative Engine, which is a great defensive buff to have, so whenever you're hit, you get a 285 health. And it can only trigger every whatever it says, 1 second right there, yeah. Alright, so I'm not going to go over each and every skill, but just fill this out completely, 61 Nightblade, and I'll give you a rundown here on how to play the build. So I suggest you read through each ability so you know what they do and how they work. It always helps you understand the build better. But yeah, alright, so I'm going to start off with the macros. Now, I made these macros especially for the video. I do not use these macros. I'll tell you what I use instead, but I made these to make it easier for some people. So this is going to be your builder. You'll have Show Fiery Spike, Cast Touch of Darkness. Here, let me pull up my abilities right here. Cast Touch of Darkness, Cast Primal Strike, Cast Fiery Spike. Okay, so first of all, Touch of Darkness is going to be a bursting ability. So for 6 seconds, your weapon ability attacks deal an additional 1094 death damage and drain 5 energy or 5 power or 3% of the enemy's maximum mana. So this is a great it's a great bursting ability, as well as at draining your opponent's energy, mana, etc. Primal Strike will be your melee attack, and this melee attack also has if you have the Synergy Crystal. As you can see, Primal Strike and Dust Strike have a 30% chance to deal an additional 690 death damage. So your Primal Strike will have that 30% chance. Your next ability is Cast Fiery Spike, which is one of your main abilities, and it's basically a dot. It'll put a fire tick on the enemy, and it goes over 10 seconds. And it says max of 3 stacks, but as a 61 Nightblade, it'll be a max of 5 stacks. So you always want to keep Fiery Spike up on the target. Don't worry, it's really easy to keep up on them. And try to get your Fiery Spikes up. Once you have that up, you can start using Primal Strike and Dust Strike. I'll see what you mean. But sometimes you may want to use Dust Strike if they're already low. Because if you see someone at like 10%, 55%, it's not worth it just to put up a dot. You might just want to do Primal Strike or Dust Strike, which I'll get into later. Now, the reason I was saying I don't use these macros is because I keep Touch of Darkness separate, because I like to choose when I want to burst. I don't put them in the same macro. You can. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just if you want to be able to time your burst correctly and burst people down, then I would suggest keeping it separate. It's all up to you. Okay, yeah, your finisher. So here's your finisher. You can again, Dark Descent. I'll go over these. So Dark Descent. What Dark Descent does is the rogue's next 3 finishers do not consume combo points. So you can get, let's say you do a 5 combo point Flame Thrust, you can do another Flame Thrust, another Flame Thrust. So it's not taking those next 3 finishers. It's on a cooldown of 30 seconds, and that's your main bursting ability. Then you have Scourge of Darkness, which is one of your main finishers for the Blade Dancer. And what it does is it causes your next 10 weapon attacks to deal additional death damage. And this does a massive amount of damage due to your Synergy Crystal, as it increases the damage of Scourge of Darkness by 255. Now, it'll say 10 weapon attacks, but again, as a 6-to-1 Blade Dancer, you have the ability right here, Blackout, and it'll increase the number of charges of Scourge of Darkness by 15. So you're going to be getting 25 weapon attacks. So you always want to, don't use it at 3 combo points, you always want to use this at 5 combo points. So then your next ability will be, in the macro, is Blazing Strike, which is your melee finisher. Which I can find right here. Okay, yeah, it deals additional fire damage per combo point. It's basically it's a really hard hitting finisher. That's just your melee finisher, and then your range finisher, which is Flame Thrust. Same thing, but your Blazing Strike will hit a little harder, so it's preferred to do a Blazing Strike. Anyway, now again, I don't use this macro. I keep Dark Descent separate because I like to choose again when I burst, and sometimes time it with Touch of Darkness, depending on what I'm doing. Depends on the situation, but again, you can use these macros if you prefer. I'm not saying they're bad, but I keep Dark Descent separate, and I like to keep Scourge of Darkness separate sometimes, because when you're, let's say you have someone down at 10% and you're using this macro, maybe you just need to get one Blazing Strike off and you don't want to use Scourge of Darkness. It won't know you want to do that, and it'll just go right to Scourge of Darkness. So you're casting something and not getting that burst off, and he could heal himself by that time. So I keep them separate so I don't get caught in those situations. It just makes it easier for me. But again, if you want to use these macros, go ahead. AoE then you have an AoE Builder. Here's your AoE attacking, and it's going to be Living Flame, which will deal 8,209 fire damage over 5 seconds up to 10 nearby enemies. And what's great about this is it'll apply Fiery Spike for you. So as you can see, if I can pull these down. So if I stand here and I cast it, so here's fire, here's Living Flame. Each time it pulses, as you can see, it's putting a stack of Fiery Spike on them. So they all have 5 stacks, as you can see. So that's great. Then you have Fiery Chains, which deals 2,597 to 2,871 fire damage up to 6 enemies. And depending on how enemies it hits, it has a 50% chance to give you an additional combo point, as you can see. So if I fire it at these dummies, it gave me 4 combo points. There you go. See, depends on who it procs. You have 50% chance, so that's great if you're trying to build up combo points really fast. You also have Weapon Flare, which is just your melee building. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, melee range, that's your melee builder. It hits up to 8 enemies, does a certain amount of damage. So as you can see, so that's your AoE. Now your AoE finisher will be, again, you can use this macro if you want to. You can put Dark Descent in there. I don't suggest it really, but I just put this in here for people who want to just use it. You can if you want. So you can put Dark Descent in there, and then Scourge of Darkness to get that off. Flame Blitz, which is, let's see. Now this is a great one. So let's say it deals damage, but let's say you have 5 combo points and you have Fiery Spike. Let's say I have a Fiery Spike on this dummy, right? If I do a Flame Blitz, what it will do, and I do a 5 combo point attack, it will apply Fiery Spike onto everyone it hits. So see, as you can see, if the target enemy is affected by the rogue's Fiery Spike, the rogue has a 20% chance per combo point to apply Fiery Spike to all enemies. So here, I'll show you guys this. So let me get it. Sorry, there's a Fiery Spike on him, right? Now if I'm going to pop the finisher in here, so I get Dark Descent off, you get the Scourge of Darkness, and then you have Flame Blitz. It just applied Fiery Spike to everyone. See, as you can see, everyone that got hit got Fiery Spike. So that's how that works. And then at the end you could put Flame Thrust at the end of this macro if you want. It's just a single attack, but it's your ranged, so you don't get caught just spamming and you're not getting a finisher off. So those are the macros you can use for the build if you choose. If you want to be more competitive with your play, I don't suggest using them. But if you just want, something casual and you want to, take it easy, then just use the macros. It's fun. All right. aside from the macros, you also have there's several abilities actually that you need to be aware of. One of them is Twilight Force. You always want to keep this up on the enemy. There's multiple reasons. First of all, it slows them it snares the enemy, impairing their movement speed by 30% for 6 seconds, as well as applying State of Sloth, which will increase the damage they take from you by 10%. So I don't know if you can't do it on a dummy because they're immune to State of Sloth, because it's a dummy. It's kind of stupid, but so it doesn't put the slow. But when you put it on someone, they get the slow and they get the increased damage taken. So you always want to try and keep that up on the enemy. So, alright, your second ability you want to be aware of is Dusk to Dawn, and it's a dot over 4 seconds. It'll do 10,000 damage, 10,303 damage over 4 seconds. As well, this is the main part, as applies Night Rage to the rogue, and this increases the damage done by Blazing Strike and Flame Thrust. As you can remember, those are your 2 finishers. Now, and it rewards 2 combo points, which is great. So this Night Rage will last for 60 seconds, and this is on a 30 seconds cooldown, so you can see. That's what Night Rage looks like. So now my Blazing Strike and Flame Thrust are buffs, as you can see. See, they're doing up to 7,700 damage, and before, let's see if I take it off. Now they're doing like 6,500. So as you can see, it's a big difference. So you want to keep that up. All right. The other abilities you want to be aware of are Dust Strike and Ebon Fury. Now, Dust Strike, there's a good side and a bad side. So I'm gonna target that percent. Okay, so every time you use this, it applies emptiness. Now, each time you use Dust Strike, the next one will be increased by 10%, and it only goes up to 5 times. It only stacks up to 5 times, right? Now, so here, let me show you an example. So I use Dust Strike, and it's hitting harder and harder each time, because the more stacks I have, the harder it's gonna hit, and it goes by 10%, and it has a max of 5 stacks. But the downside is the cost will be increased by 15% per stack. So it's going to be costing you a lot of energy. As you can see, look at the cost goes up. See, it's taking away a lot of my energy. Now, what you want to do is get up to 5 stacks and pop Ebon Fury, because what this does is it eliminates the cost of Dust Strike and Twilight Force, which is your slowman over there, but Dust Strike. So that way you can spam Dust Strikes at 50% increase with no energy depletion. So that is a great burst, and you want to try and keep that whenever you see Ebon Fury down, you want to try and keep doing that, as well as, you know, save it for good burst or time it. So that's just another ability to be aware of. You also have the ability Dark Containment, which I'm gonna go over, and it's basically kind of like Rift Prison, but not really. It just incapacitates the enemy for 15 seconds, so it's kind of just a CC, like a blind or whatever. If you're doing a 2v1 and you want to block the healer, nuke down the DPS with like a Dark Descent, because that hits hard. That's your main bursting ability. You can take people down in about 3 GCDs with that if you time it well. Okay, so I should talk about the stealth. So you have stealth here as a Nightblade, but it's not going to be full stealth. It's 30 seconds and you're going to be slower, but the ability you want to use out of stealth is Dark Malady, and is it'll increase the rogue's damage done by 20% for 8 seconds, as well as award 2 combo points. So that's something you want to use when you come out of stealth, so that's the ability you want to use. You also have Lost Hope, which is amazing. It's a ranged kind of sap. I don't know if you guys play WoW, but it's kind of a ranged, I forget what the assassin one is called in this game, but it's just kind of like a ranged stun. It'll put them to sleep kind of for, what is it, like 5 seconds in PvP? I don't know what the breakdown is, but I believe it's 5 seconds or something. So it's good to, CC people if you're trying to go on a 2v1 or something, or any situation really. Alright, so that's really those abilities. So I need to go over I'm going to go over the buffs, and then I'm going to talk about your utility kind of. I already went over Dark Containment, but so here are the buffs you have. You have Ebon Blades, Hellfire Blades, Fell Blades, and Smoldering Blades. Okay, if you're going for pure DPS, you're going to be wanting to use Smoldering Blades and Ebon Blades. So those are the 2 you want to use. So Ebon Blades deals some death damage, as well as causing the enemy to take 5% more damage to you per stack, stacking up to a maximum of 3 stacks. Smoldering Blades, chance to deal fire damage over 12 seconds, and when it's once it reaches 5 stacks, it will consume all stacks to deal a burst of fire damage. So those are the two if you want to just be doing pure DPS. If you're getting on healers and all that and you want to lock those down, use Ebon Blades and Fell Blades, because Fell Blades will reduce the healing received by 10%, as well as siphon that stolen healing back to you. So if you're hopping on healers, use that. And your other buff is going to come from Tactician, and it's going to be Curative Engine. You always want to keep that up. Okay, your utility, you're going to have on the double, right? So it's a movement increase, and where is it? You're gonna have Blazing Path, which teleports you 15 meters forward, as well as give you a speed increase. So it teleports you forward, and I have a small speed increase. Twilight Transcendence is another one. It will remove all curses, diseases, and poisons, and it will reduce damage taken by 50%, and damage done by 40%. So that's kind of a trade-off. You're not going to be doing as much damage, but it also restores 50% of your max health over 4 seconds. So it's a great way to get back up. It's basically a second life, basically. So those are your Nightblade abilities. Oh, I didn't talk about Smother. You also want to use Smother sometimes if you're popping up on a healer. I didn't talk about that, or a caster really. So keep that in mind as well. Now, going back into Marksman, you have Swift Shot again and Hasted Shot. Remember to use those if you're you already have a maximum of 5 stacks of Fiery Spike. Let me go on this dummy. So you got 5 stacks. Then you want to start using Swift Shot and all, because as you can see, that'll still proc your weapon enchantments, and it's a range finisher that's 30 meters, whilst your other ones I think only go up to, I don't want to get it wrong, I think it's 20 meters, I believe. Yeah, 20 meters. So it's a larger range, so it keeps you on the target. That's really all there is to being a Nightblade. Now I can show you. So start from stealth. You know, you get Dark Malady off. Using your builder. Let's say I just use my builder. See, the bad thing about using these macros is you're popping your abilities, your burst abilities, without actually timing it. As you can see, you Scourge of Darkness, Dark Descent, and he could be at full health when I pop this, and you don't really want to do that. So you can use these macros, but if you want to be better with your burst and timing, then don't. So that's really how to play the build, guys. It's really not that complicated. I'll just give you some quick tips here. If you're in a 1v1, it's sometimes good to proc a Living Flame, so you don't have to start stacking Fiery Spikes, so you can just whoops, that's a mistake. You want to pop Living Flame, so you can pop Living Flame and just get right into the building. So you can start using Dust Strike or your Quick Strike, whatever. So that's a great thing to do. And if you're Flame Blitz is a good way to pressure teams by getting Fire Spikes across the board. There's a lot of dots for people to cleanse and all that. A lot of people like to do that. So that's really the build for you. If I skipped anything or it was confusing, let me know. Again, there are multiple variations for this build. You can put, I've seen people do Tactician and Bard because they want to get the deafening music or get the non-physical attacks, as well as getting Fanfare Vigor. You could spec into, what is it? Anthem of Glory if you want. I mean, a lot of people go different things. It's really up to you. I'm just showing you what I run personally. So if you have any questions, just leave a comment in this section below. I'll put the macros in the description. Again, if there's any suggestions for videos, funny videos, guides, if you want more PvP to see my gameplay, if that'll help you as well, I'll do that. Just let me know. If you want to play with me in game, just send me a tell. I'm on Deepwood. It's Viral at Deepwood. I've also been playing a alt called Viral Lol. So if you want to play with me on that character, it's about, I think she's level 40. Oh, I can't remember, 44 or something like that. So if you want to PvP with me in that range, you can. Just let me know. Send me a mail, send a tell in game, or just give me a message on my inbox on YouTube. So I hope you guys liked the video, so comment, rate, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See ya.